morning there. You're watching QTV This Morning, and I'm Jennifer Sonko. And thank you so much for accompanying us yesterday. And we're looking forward to an amazing program today too. Today is Tuesday. The week is, you know, it's going. It's moving so quickly.
It's moving
so quickly. It's moving so quickly. And we are glad that you have chosen this morning as your morning show to accompany you. 1 hour 30 minutes of your mornings, and I'm here joined by Mr. Momodou Mbodj and my co-host Balde Banna. Thank you so much for joining us, gentlemen. We are back again.
You know what I said to Ansumana Esonyasi this morning? When I entered the building, I was like, it's like we didn't even go home yesterday.
Yeah.
I mean, things are so quick and so fast.
I felt like
to
that.
an extent. It's like, okay, I've been here the whole yesterday and this morning, you know. It's telling you how time is going by very fast, you understand? I don't know what happened. Is it climate change? Things are changing very quickly.
Mante buma eo
Friday
and I just looked at my phone and magisne suba jotna. I was like, what? Tuti majoy. You know that urge of buka sango at that again. You know, it's so hard, but you have to wake up.
It's a constant battle.
Yeah, it's a very big battle.
I have this funny alarm on my phone.
Everybody does.
Ganar bude sab. So was what it be me agara mudiga mustard noise.
Danko de mere.
Amako de snooze.
Danko de mere.
Snooze. After 10 minutes mustard delivering. Sila de choke. So it's difficult. The only thing that can make you push is determination. Otherwise, absolutely. You still go back to bed.
The discipline you have, you know, yes, there are all these factors, absolutely.
Exactly. So, Mr. Mbodj, how was your yesterday?
How was my Monday? Well, not very different from my, I don't know, from other days, you know what I mean? Monday, first day of the week, people used to talk about Monday blues.
Yeah.
I don't feel it anymore. So, in fact, sometimes you sort of come energized because maybe you had a good rest on a Sunday, so you come in the morning full of energy. I have certainly experienced such Mondays, you know, the very opposite of Monday blues. So I don't know about you.
Well, exactly. I don't know of other people, but there are people who don't like Mondays.
Nobody can move Monday.
You know.
Not me.
People love Fridays.
Yeah.
To Mondays. I mean,
in fact, Thursdays.
Yeah.
Man, the moment it's Thursday,
they are
I know that
days.
Friday is a half day.
It's a light day.
But they die down
the
as
Monday,
the week goes.
The Monday is so serious that Monday is the beginning of the week.
Traffic jam.
Monday be more nga start ligay fresh. Understand?
Yeah.
You have to go through. You know that the things that you've been going through from the past week. I mean, all those experiences. Why not? Monday time, expect lo hamne. I mean, it's a big deal. You understand?
In the end, it's a mindset.
It's a mindset,
it's
right?
It's a mindset. But I think Monday is like any other day.
So therefore, you can do something about it. Once you're aware of what it is, then you can manipulate, as it were.
But Mr. Mbodj, is this not telling you how the human being is? I mean, the human being doesn't want to be put into one place whereby, I mean, okay, you have to focus only on one thing. I mean, sometimes the being himself needs to go and chill. I mean, that's why we prefer Fridays and Saturdays to Sundays than Mondays to Friday.
It is more complex than that. What do you say we? I'm not sure what you mean by who are
I'm
in the
talking
we.
about the
So
human.
you have different people wanting different things. So you think that most people prefer Fridays. I'm not so sure about that. What does that mean? So you have different shades, you have a diversity of types, isn't it, really, and styles and all sorts of things. That is what makes it more interesting. So in the end, it just depends on.
Lena, they have now 95% of the people like on Monday.
I don't know how you love making these sweeping statements, these generalizations.
But I am saying,
just based
on
what you know.
Yeah, I see things and I can analyze things, Mr. Mboy.
No, I'm not saying that you cannot analyze things. Maybe the sample is inadequate. But as an example, every single individual experience in the vast expanse of human experience.
Okay, gentlemen. I just want to talk about something. You guys, over the weekend, we've seen that Jizzle performed in the Gambia. Jizzle is one of the top male artists in the Gambia.
I've heard of the name.
You Jizzle, right? Momo way turn by turn. Everything in life it's turn by turn.
Oh, okay. More of song.
More turn by turn. Everything in life.
Oh, okay. Nice.
Like I wait for your turn, something like that.
Okay.
So then you had Vivian as well performing in the Gambia. You had Asanjai.
The same day?
The same day. You see, 2 foreign artists, 1 Gambian artist. So the Gambian artist
pulled the crowd.
He had a very good crowd. So I'm like, this is Gambians now embracing, because previously you have a foreign artist, so if you don't perform.
Absolutely.
A Gambian artist, they are not even scheduled, an appearance or a show on the same day that a foreign artist is performing in the Gambia. Tambo Bololo is like a taboo doing that. But now, they're comfortable.
Well, there are many factors.
Wow.
I mean, now people are becoming more aware. People are becoming, people are now practicing what we call self-love. You understand? Love for country. Gambia might be tough. Yes, I got it. Gambia might go through certain things. But Gambians love this country. You understand? And its people. And when you look at the music industry, it's transforming. And thanks to the open mic festival.
Yeah.
I mean, they've done a lot of things when it comes to the music industry. The whole country to the stadium.
Yeah.
New facial start be, and that their flowers need to be given to them. Then ST, must start the facial stadium be. Then Jizzle did the same thing. Attack, So people are loving what belongs to them more than the foreign artists. Because at the end of the time, investment be at the end of the feel more the I think it's a plus for the industry.
Yeah, it's amazing, Mr. Mboch. Isn't it?
I'm just so far from St. View when I feel that this nationalist embroidery being in difficulty all this story. I think it's overdoing it.
Really?
It's unnecessary, really.
Okay.
But in music, since we were younger, we'd used to do with John Seca or accept anything. It's just about the market. It's about Jizzle, because Jizzle is so good. Munna pull the crowd. Munna some other artists, they'll pull the crowd. So the idea of Gambianness, I think it's more of the individual brilliance who pull the crowd far more than the individual
is Gambian.
Any other
but
Gambian.
the individual is Gambian.
It can be Mr. Mboch, it can be subjective. Anyway, accept now Mr. Mboch Lumowa partly. It can be subjective, damn it. Because man, feel
where is the subjectivity?
Kind of. We can also peg it to we can peg it to tamit. Times have changed. Internet. Come time ñun buñ yongé amuñ won this devices yi nga xamné dinañ even mëna déglu di nga mëna déglu way, but légui the awareness of the online presence for them to be able to sell tickets time bobu nonu ñun buñ nekké xalé giveaway du daan am because ban internet nga défé giveaway bi légui di nga gis né companies are even using at Jizzle, for example, majority of tickets suñ fa jaay particular individual so demee online di nga ko gis ñoo jënd tickets yi dina am nañ jënd 100 am nañ jënd 50 ba pare jox ko giveaway nit yi ñu jënd ko ñu dem so di nga gis ne time tamit changes in time ak pour mu easy pour jaaykat naka musician mu mun a sell their tickets is also fekk nekkul individual brilliance bi rek.
I'll tell you something gis nga ñun suñ generation bi we are lucky xam nga lu tax ma ne we are lucky ñun dañ
it's not like benn nit moo dem jënd ticket
dañ fekkee dañ am wóor sax ñu am all this technology understand nga jena wax na ko mu ne the presence of the internet loolu dafa important time boobu noonu I can remember
giveaway
ñun buñ gënee tuuti Sukotoy organize an event, like those are big shows, you understand? Do they face come ni? Because time when you get start,
Nyom Maslabi, all those people were good.
Nyom DJ Cora,
They
understand
were good.
that we are here. Fog na kufi geno na face album face. Mone kon DJ Cora, you know, see zone be.
They are actually
you
good.
understand? Why now the advantage is there. And Mr. Mboj, whether you agree or not, Leki la Gambian si gena neka di aware luñ mom. Understand?
I was talking about something else. For instance, you let them get a ticket, you let them to concerts.
Wow.
What do you think the more than primary motivation? Zina, oh, Senegal be a Gambian man, play the madam to Gambian be. Or I like Jizzle's music. Or I like Asanjai's music.
Am na ñoo xam ne jënduñ ticket bi.
Dama like some music, moo tax may cheer them. What do you think is really the motivation? Moo tax ma ne la. Beyond. So you say, key first, Gambian be first.
Wow.
Jizzle la. It could have been somebody else.
Granted.
Another Gambian.
Granted.
The Gambianness is there.
Wow.
Why? Munu lolu Jizzle mun so do am nit ñi.
Loolu dëgg la.
Even in other countries, am na dëkk yoo xam ne
waaye tamit li ma explain Mr. Mbodj tam mooy am na huge percentage of ñu dem si event Jizzle bi nekkul ñoom individually ñoo dem jënd ticket bi de.
dañ leen ko jox.
Waaw because Gambia léegi time boobu noonu foreign artist déedéet xaaral ma explain la dara time boobu noonu foreign artist su fii ñëw Gambian bi companies yi dañoo jënd diamond table jënd platinum table jënd silver table of the foreign artist bu fii ñëw hardly nga gis Gambian business owner mu jënd ticket 100 ticket 200 ticket Gambian artist di ko joxe giveaway loolu at yu passé nii la commencé Gambie ñun ñëpp suñoo wax rek at yu passé nii la giveaway jënd 200 ticket benn businessman jóg jënd ko at yi la commencé time boobu noonu foreign artist su dee ñëw company si seen boppa dañ dee jënd tables te tables yooyu lañ dee jël jox ko seen staff si pour seen staff si dem attend now di nga gis ne déjà shift ne local artistes yi su ñoo am benn nit for example Jizzle bi di nga gis ay international footballers ay ñu bëri jënd nañ benn nit dina jënd 50 ticket jënd 100 ticket jënd 200 ticket jox ko waa liggéey kaayam ne leen dem leen ngeen dem support Jizzle because Jizzle is Gambian loolu is evident based on post yu gaay nekk di post this business owners yu ko jënd soo demee online nga check ko so man foofu laa nekk di waxee
loolu la nag am na ñoo xam ne even other countries sax
waaw
dafa am country yu mel ni Nigeria when it comes to the music industry léegi dañoo ne worldwide Nigeria is part of the most prominent understand waaye da ngaa gis ne dafa am yenn artistes yoo xam ne sax
Afrobeat nga am nañ many styles
many genres understand na waaye da ngaa gis ne ñoom Nigeria sax dafa am yenn artistes yoo xam ne suñu organisé du dee fees understand dafa am ñu mel ni ñoom Burna Boy ak yeneen artistes yoo xam ne ñooñu suñ ñëwee rek dafa fees understand nga waaye we're just trying to show you ne lately people are becoming more self-aware of what belongs to them.
And
I am pretty sure there are many people that attended Jizzle's program. Ñooñu noonu xamuñ ne sax Vivian mu ngi doon play.
Yëguñ ko
xamuñ woon ne naka la Assane Ndiaye what song does Assane Ndiaye have?
No, Assane Ndiaye is good. Mooy Racky Thione Seck bi.
Du ma dee mun a xam yooyu sax. Yeah, so loolu la rek Mr. Seen comme seen time.
Waaye Mr. Mbodj agree wut mënut a gis ñun what we are saying.
Gis naa
waaw because majority of ñi fa dem nekku ne dama dox half bi dañ dox jëndal seen boppa ticket waaye half bi dafa am Gambian prominent people for example ST last show yam bi Q group jëndal nañ xawma 100 tickets xawma ñaata tickets séedaale ko so di nga gis ne time boobu compagnie si jaral na leen ñu xaar foreign artist bi ñëw ñu def loolu noonu. So let's get into our African proverb from music. Let's take a look at our proverb. Does the mosquito thank you for your blood?
Never.
This is a Swahili proverb. Does the mosquito thank you for your proverb? For your blood.
I like that.
Does the mosquito thank you for your blood?
The mosquito thank you for your proverb, for your blood.
You've done it as well.
What's saying proverb?
It's catching.
It's
We are thinking. Okay.
Does the mosquito thank you
for your
blood?
Wow. Wow. Okay, Mr. Mbodj. Mosquitoes.
Of course not.
Yeah.
As small as a mosquito, but as dangerous as a machine gun.
Kind of, yes, absolutely. Leeches, isn't it? We used to call them leeches. things that suck your blood, and parasites.
Vampires.
Vampires. Obviously, how can they say thank you? They wouldn't know that.
They don't even know you.
Thank you. You know what I mean? They just suck you dry.
Ndeysaan.
And
Use la ni.
Absolutely. And that's it.
And
Man, I don't have problem with
Yeah.
the mosquitoes that suck blood. The ones that make
it's human. You am hell.
No, man, you didn't noise son of a man, I don't like those ones. Is it the Anopheles mosquito or the Culex mosquito?
Actually, man, luma forgot ne lo ñoo wax moy.
Right.
You're okay with the mosquito sucking your blood.
No, I'm not.
And not say thank you because mosquito be
I'm not okay with
insect
it.
la.
Yeah.
Koko insect la hamud lu mo def. The only thing lu mo def moy ñoo suck sa blood
Hamud
because
and
lola
Hamud lu mo def.
Hamud lu mo no hamud lu mo def moy.
These things, they live in their own
Déedéet,
environment
xam na ne
too.
mu ngi
They
suck
have
sa
their own
blood.
characteristics.
Xam na ne
You
mu
don't
ngi
know.
suck sa blood.
Wow.
Waaye mosquito bi mënu la wa jërëjëf koko dafa
Hamud know that. You don't know how they communicate.
But generally, Lee is about giving gratitude, okay? It's about giving gratitude to people. For example, ñun ñëpp society bi sometimes am na ñoo xam ne they use us. Dañ laa use as a human being. Am lu ñoo am si yow ba pare te jaaraama doo ko am si nit. Man dama dee faral a wax dara all the time. Dama dee ne taraanga kenn du ko nuba. Taraanga dañ koo fesal te loolu suñ maam yi sax dañ ko yaaga di ko wax. Kii indi na taraanga bi ñu fesal ko. That is what suñ maam yi suñ yaay yi that's what they do. Waaye gradually léegi di nga gis ne loolu sense of cultural sense boobu noonu si man mu ngi change of people giving gratitude su la nit defalee taranga. Sometimes nit defala taranga sax nga nubba ko wala nit defala taranga sax nga ëlbate ko di yaaxa deram. Loolu yëpp gis nañ ko fi. So at the end of the day it's just about giving gratitude to people wax leen jërëjëf du la wàññil dara fesal ko soo ko mënee na ko ñëpp yëg. You know, man noonu laa ko gisee na ko ñëpp yëg man soo ma defaree taraanga ñëpp a koo yëg man loolu laa gom man.
Well, the nature of gratitude, how do you show gratitude?
It depends.
Just as you've just demonstrated that, it depends on from
Wow,
individual
to individual. Wow.
You don't have any set standards of
Exactly.
how to express gratitude. That is really very important.
Wow.
And that's it. Whether it will be fizz or not depends on individual
Wow.
choice. You know, different
Man
people.
moom na fees rek.
Different people they like different styles. They have different sensibility. So that sort of thing. So yes, absolutely. So all what can do is that just careful. You know, maybe help where you can and protect yourself where you must, and sort of maintain some peace.
Exactly.
Wow.
Decorum.
Within yourself.
Wow.
Yeah,
Just show gratitude.
Otherwise, yes. But again, just show gratitude. While some people will not. When with these things, I never exhort anybody to behave in such a way. It wouldn't happen.
Why morally?
People have their own world, their own motivations, their own character. I do not know. All I can do is defend myself. You see? I only worry about things that where I can act. With other people, how can I act? You know, you are your own person. But where I can act, so I defend myself. You become more discerning. You're more observant. You identify patterns, and then you act according to your judgment. Otherwise, you'll open yourself up to abuse. Life is not sentimental. When people test you and they know that you're weak, they are going to exploit it.
Dogo
Whether
dogo.
you
Yo
like it
hanga
or
bobu
not.
dogo dogo ngawa. Because man, there's a difference between dogo dogo.
No, I'm just
Locally.
talking about like generally.
Wow.
Generally, in
Showing
every
gratitude.
area, when people see that you are weak or they can
Wow.
exploit you, they will do it.
Yes.
So the only lesson is, how do I protect myself?
Yeah.
To simply moralize and say, people, you should stop doing that. You know, that's not good.
Yeah.
Oh my God, when has that ever worked?
It has never.
All you do is just protect yourself.
I agree.
That's your defense.
I agree.
You cannot make people think the way you want them to
I
think.
agree. Why sometimes if they just make a moral thing being a hamantene slightly, you can just brush over it that it's the best thing, it's best practice to show gratitude to people, you know, when they do good things for you.
Let me tell you a secret, yeah? Human beings are never really driven by their morality. That is what they say.
Yeah, we've had this
we are driven more, especially with the unconscious drives. Some people are just greedy. What they do will be that. Some people are so acquisitive. There are all these unconscious drives. You know what I mean? So when we use morality, we're just rationalizing. You know what I mean? We're just creating narratives. But the inner springs are there. Oh, please.
Well, you know, when you are doing something, I believe, you know,
Okay.
just keep doing it. You understand? At some point, you don't need any validation.
Just protect yourself.
Protect yourself. This is very
Identify
significant.
these types.
You know, exactly.
And be alert. You know what I mean? Be engaged.
You know,
be
it's
alert.
not your mental
That's all.
health when you think, okay, what are the people going to think about me? Or what are they going to say about? Sometimes that becomes a big problem when you engage people.
Why not, instead of thinking what people are going to say, ask, what is reasonable to do? I am in this situation. What is reasonable to do? You know what I mean? Then you move on. That's the question I ask. What is reasonable to do? Not what my tradition says, not what people will think, not what this says or that says.
So
but
moving
what
on,
by reason.
let's take a look at probably 2 to 3 stories on the newspapers today. We've seen a rape trial nears conclusion as High Court sets judgment day for July. So generally, on the papers, we're not obviously going to go in depth into this story because we do not have the details. But the discussion here can be based on the fact that I do not have the specific numbers, but just generally, for the past months, we've seen an improvement when it comes to report on rape. Previously, pour nga flip si newspaper bi sa nga gis ne am na rape boo xam ne dem na court, ñu ngi court def si court bi, family bi sa nangu nañ pour ñu yóbbu ko court. Generally, daf daan mën a nekk a challenge. Just recently, I'm been a state council, some modern amal conversation around that. The people now, they are more willing and aware rape, sexual and gender-based violence cases in the court, and it's okay to them to the last dot being prosecute individual. Last time, you don't talk about could George be prosecute. That was about 2 to 3 months ago. So at least, how much the actual numbers? Why it's something that it's a research topic that somebody can take up, judging, taking a look at trials, convictions. In rape, at least that research, didn't you want to guide me?
Well, Lulu, I think it's very important because it's going to help.
Wow.
I mean, at the end of time, as far as those cases are concerned, why at some point, you know, making some follow-up Lulu more than the challenge.
No, that they happen.
No, I understand the general point.
Perspective.
The general point. I'm on a certain stigma. Similar rapists, you wouldn't go
to the
because
courts.
of the social stigma.
Exactly.
But it appears as if today, so I'm a certain generation, they are not willing to go to the police to report it. So that is it. So that's been a loosening.
Wow.
As it were, there's been a loosening of that stigma, that fear, not going. But now people are more willing to go. Absolutely, I get that sense as well.
And the thing is, it's very sad because belegi judgment hunger rape is very hard to.
Absolutely.
You know, you read about these things, you know, because we've seen a prominent rape case, for example, where a paternity test was used to determine if the person was innocent or not. You cannot use, you know, situations like that where sometimes judge be more use judgment. I'm like, why? Lufa transpire. So I mean,
the forensic stuff.
Forensic stuff. We never get, and it's
that.
very sad because you know why? I'm na hale yo hamne ñu ngi joy sen keri. Dégala ne góor bi rape na leen waaye paternity test xëy na xale bi su biiree ñu def paternity test o juru ko rek réebu ko loolu du wax.
Well, you know, we need to put our house in order.
We need to
understand nga balaa ñoo mën a advance to, you know, the
am
other
na ñoo xam ne dañu rape xale te ñu ngi dox
because there are
free.
certain things yoo xam ne you know, as far as these cases are concerned, you need to get all those things into place before you be able to succeed in whatever you do. But we don't have.
We don't, and it's very sad.
And you have to go up to, I mean, to outside to do certain things before it gets here. Sometimes you can tamper with evidence and all those things.
It's sad.
You know?
Yes, the shortcomings are certainly numerous. Yes, we all have to up our game as it were. But it's a good thing that people now have the courage as it were, to confront these things, go to the authorities and pursue these cases to the courts.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And,
So what's happening?
and also, George warns prison officers in general against handcuffing in court. George warns prison officers against handcuffing accused in court. Like in court, so I testify they're not supposed to cuff you. You're supposed to be free. Generally, that's what we see. So I don't know why they're doing that.
Probably
again.
there's an incident that happened.
Inside the court.
Maybe.
Okay.
Probably. I'm not sure. That's why the judge is lamenting on this. Maybe. Probably.
Incident more happened obviously. Then they
handcuff.
handcuff accused.
It's a courtroom.
Wow.
Understand.
And he's frowning at that. He or she.
Is it in the courtroom or we do to witness box with the testify?
I
or
believe-
is it
I
bunega
think
to
the vicinity, right? So
To
like
make
it's
it-
I think
Wow.
Sibir court bidal.
Well, with these things, one has to be practical about it. To fekene, certain security risks you do not know. You police or prison officers or whoever, gisnen, may perhaps some people dangling the cuff. It's a question of understanding. The court will, discuss, as it were, liaise with them and understand what's the reasoning.
Yeah.
Isn't it? So one cannot take any theoretical position here, just depends on the practicalities. Why do they do it? If it is simply for the sake of punishment, there are no security risks. Oh, please remove them.
They remove them.
You know what I mean? When you are accused of something, or even when you are locked up, all you lose really, it's your liberty. You do not lose your humanity. We have a habit of, when we prosecute these people, or when we catch anybody, we hit you, we treat you as if you're not a human being. You do not lose that, you know what I mean? So some people are just harsh. To contain that harshness, you know what I mean? That's a very good challenge for authority. I think it's a very formidable challenge for authority.
So finally, we've had this discussion about how the whole political scene is intensifying as we approach 2026. So early, but 2026, December. Just this morning, whilst I was coming, what I do is every morning, I'll scroll, watch political interviews, to ensure that, we have discussions on here. Yankuba Dabo, who is the chairman of the Brikama Area Council, in an interview that I saw today, mentioned that the party leader for the United Democratic Party is lawyer Usainu Dabo, but was quick to also say that, Talib's camp, should be put to check, because whenever there's an activity, according to the chairman of the Brikama Area Council, who's part of the United Democratic Party, he would often see people wearing Talib's T-shirts more than the T-shirts of the party leader, who's lawyer Usainu Dabo. And also, he alleges that whenever Talib Bensouda is providing support to communities, he would always say, Sukuri Talib Bensouda be indi nanko, supporti Talib Bensouda be indi nanko, instead of supporti United Democratic Party be indi nanko. And he's saying the moment lawyer Usainu Dabo is not the party leader anymore, he would just take a back seat, because he feels like when that camp comes in power, they will even do worse than the Barrow administration based on how Talib is handling things. And Rohey Malick-Lowe has also come up with her accusations when it comes to the faction and the divide that is currently at the United Democratic Party. So the United Democratic Party, currently, we can visibly see that it's divided.
You've just sort of outlined there a disunited Democratic Party. That's really what you've just done. Yes, camps emerging, that's it. The vultures are encircling the leader. The leader is old.
Yes.
You know that sooner or later he will go. So what next? But again, I will go back to the leader. This is very interesting.
Yeah.
How could you have sort of kept watch over this, which has suddenly fragmented into this?
Yeah.
Has there been a leadership issue? How did it happen?
Yeah.
As it were. So it's very interesting. You said things are heating up.
Yes.
It appears that things are not hitting up in a way that we would want the opposition to be,
Yes.
but it's the opposition itself that is hitting up really. Cracks appearing all
Cracks
over
everywhere.
the place from, coming out from the woodwork. So we'll see how it is. Yeah, it's certainly exciting if you're like a political watcher.
Yeah.
It's certainly exciting.
It's actually
and see
exciting
what's
me.
going on.
You know
yeah.
what? It's exciting me as a journalist because, following, it's a case study. United Democratic Party has been existing since time of Jawara. And then, they've had this leader. And now...
Is it in UDP 1996?
1996.
So this was really
90
after Jammeh.
Did
Jammeh.
you say 1996?
96, yeah.
I'm
After
bored.
Jammeh
So
took
manak
over.
UDP nyo MH.
Yeah.
Yen li nahari na made.
So Momo emerged as the
I'm that
opposition.
yo.
As the opposition.
Kon
I
mandal,
remember
Manila
seeing.
yung eh.
Yeah.
As the APRC. But let's be careful here. Formidable.
Wow.
It was the most formidable opposition.
Wow.
Yeah, Jammeh really hated UDP.
He
and
did.
Hussein Daba.
Yes.
And then we must give them massive, massive
Credit.
for
Well,
that
yes.
fight. That was a formidable fight.
Yes.
I remember, was it April 14th, 16th, if you saw Sunday Ishubi, I was at QIT, the FIB
Wow,
building.
and you saw.
That day, it happened in front of me.
Yes.
Then I thought, what brave people.
Very brave.
Solo Sanding, Dabo, there was Amadou Sane and the rest.
Yeah,
Wonderful,
Fatimata Jawara.
brave people. So there was this historical role. But I felt that with the transition, the coalition, now the transition, I felt that they didn't manage it well.
They didn't.
So in the end, they were outmaneuvered, really.
Yeah.
And then now, my suspicion is that NPP would be around for a while.
Yeah, because even with the Talib's interview recently, when he was asked about 2026, I'll make that decision. That is what he said. I will make that decision.
Yeah.
And then Rohey Malik Lowe, on the other hand, who is also part of the party and the mayor of Banjul, is talking about Talib's camp, against her. So it's a bit.
Well, I think
it's
Mr.
funny.
Momodu
It is called democratic
Mr. Boy,
politics.
you made a
it's funny.
perfect, you made a
But-
perfect conclusion.
Yeah.
I mean, if there is a dividence between the main political party among them, it's an advantage for the NPP party. I mean,
Yeah.
that's
Why
that's
man
a big
hangali ma
advantage.
jahal the fact ne
So,
chairman Yankuba Dabo dafa come boldly ne ñii ni la ko waxee word per word ñii suñ fi toogee they will even be worse than Adama Barrow tey si interview am bu ma déglu loolu la wax and he was very he shot at
He
it
have his reasons for
wow
saying it.
he shot at it
He have his
Absolutely.
and
reasons
ñoom
for
ñoo
saying
bokk
it.
benn
Wow,
party
he
that
have his
was
reasons.
I was like wow
Yeah, he got his reasons.
Well,
I
they've got
mean,
different wings now.
Wow, he got his reasons. I mean, I hope they will put they'll put their house in order, before anything happen.
Well,
I don't think so.
It's not for me to hope for this or
Yeah,
hope for
no,
that.
wow.
So let the party go through its own processes.
You see it.
And all these parties, and then we will judge in the end, isn't
the
it?
end.
So it's not for me to be this or that.
Yeah.
I'm just out
yeah,
of it.
I agree. We shouldn't
Yeah.
hope. We shouldn't hope.
Yeah.
It's their
Just
own
do
business to handle.
whatever you do.
Yeah.
How skillful are you in
To be
performing
able to-
these
yeah.
things? So people judge by performance.
Exactly.
You know
And
what I mean?
now-
It's just not talking about
Yeah.
it. It's about how do you perform.
And lawyer Usainu Dabo now he's in the center of everything. So it depends. Legi Mom, it's revolving around him because Chairman Yankuba Dabo is mentioning ne mom dafa topa party leader moy lawyer Usainu Dabo koku su fa gene nak then he will do otherwise.
will decide.
Why as long as koku nonu mung fa mom koku moy party leader and he's the leader there. So interesting times, like you said,
Absolutely.
it's exciting.
Yeah,
I'm excited,
I think
and
so, yes, it is.
let's see how
See how things will pan
situation
out. Yeah,
how it pan
absolutely.
out. It
Yeah.
will make things really interesting. But thank you so much, Mr. Mbouch, for
Pleasure.
joining us on the program. Why, Mr. Mbouch, balde git na la andel de.
léegi dama ko yaaga baan
Ban nga ko?
ba leen del ma mu mel ni ki woo moo doon am suma boppa bi dox ma all over the place. It was a battlefield. My head was a battlefield. I couldn't believe it.
Yow sa yow dégg fit Mr. Mbouch yow sa yow lu tax nga war a dem si balde di ko ja sa boppa bi.
yow xam nga ñu ne mii noonu xam nga paako yi ñëw am na ku mun a ndel te
mu
nag
ndel la.
am ndóo yu mun a def
ba pare yow
loolu.
tam doo wax kii dëgg ne mun loo koo ndel.
munoon naa ko de defal naa ko ñetti yoon.
Ndel,
Understand?
waaw.
Yep,
Why last
same-
one bi
same
fekk I was
result.
not in a good mood. boobu nekkuma woon si good mood.
So nga def ko ko.
dama wax ni sa boy ma toog ma xool deret bi muy naaja
And you were like, you are a bad person.
No, bul worry, feel like that.
Yo,
fekk maa ngi feel.
you were feel.
yaa
ngi feel heat bi.
Waaye xam nga start now du ma mun a jóg.
No mun a jóg.
Ma ne ko tey la.
But thank God, don't do that again. It always comes to my mind. We'll go for a short break, and when we come back, we'll be taking a look at the SONA, the State of the Nation address. So President Adama Barrow will be addressing the legislature, talking about challenges, future plans, and achievements as well. And the list goes on. So this will take place on Thursday, inshallah, at the National Assembly. And we'll be joined by representatives from the National Assembly to take us through the plans, you know, the media, guests arriving, and the list goes on. We'll be right back.
QMoney is back again with its easy-to-use, secure and convenient mobile app that allows you to carry out all your transactions. No matter where you are or what time it is, you can always access your funds. With the new QMoney app, you can cash in and out, buy credit, buy QPower, shop, make payments, and so much more. You can also send QMoney, pay bills, receive international remittances, and transfer cash to others. Just download the app from your Play Store or App Store and get started. For more information, call customer care on 133. QMoney, Sinu Kalpe. We innovate, others follow. QMoney is back again with its easy-to-use, secure and convenient mobile app that allows you to carry out all your transactions. No matter where you are or what time it is, you can always access your funds. With the new QMoney app, you can cash in and out, buy credit, buy QPower, shop, make payments, and so much more. You can also send QMoney, pay bills, receive international remittances, and transfer cash to others. Just download the app from your Play Store or App Store and get started. For more information, call customer care on 133. QMoney, Sinu Kalpe. We innovate, others follow. QMoney is back again with its easy-to-use, secure and convenient mobile app that allows you to carry out all your transactions. No matter where you are or what time it is, you can always access your funds. With the new QMoney app, you can cash in and out, buy credit, buy QPower, shop, make payments, and so much more. You can also send QMoney, pay bills, receive international remittances, and transfer cash to others. Just download the app from your Play Store or App Store and get started. For more information, call customer care on 133. QMoney, Sinu Kalpe. We innovate, others follow. QMoney is back again with its easy-to-use, secure and convenient mobile app that allows you to carry out all your transactions. No matter where you are or what time it is, you can always access your funds. With the new QMoney app, you can cash in and out, buy credit, buy QPower, shop, make payments, and so much more. You can also send QMoney, pay bills, receive international remittances, and transfer cash to others. Just download the app from your Play Store or App Store and get started. For more information, call customer care on 133. QMoney, Sinu Kalpe. We innovate, others follow. QMoney is back again with its easy-to-use, secure and convenient mobile app that allows you to carry out all your transactions. No matter where you are or what time it is, you can always access your funds. With the new QMoney app, you can cash in and out, buy credit, buy QPower, shop, make payments, and so much more. You can also send QMoney, pay bills, receive international remittances, and transfer cash to others. Just download the app from your Play Store or App Store and get started. For more information, call customer care on 133. QMoney, Sinu Kalpe. We innovate, others follow.
Welcome back from that short break. If you're just tuning in, you're watching QTV this morning. And now, Ibrahim, like I mentioned, we'll be shifting our attention to a discussion on the State of the Nation address, an annual speech delivered by President Adama Barrow at the National Assembly, focusing on challenges, achievements, and the way forward. And we're joined by Jibairu Jane, Director of Communications, ICT Protocol Press at the National Assembly, as well as the Deputy Clerk of the National Assembly, Buba M.E. Jata. Thank you so much, gentlemen, for joining us on the program. So Thursday, inshallah, the president will be delivering his State of the Nation address. I'm going to be a little bit biased here. Media, let's focus on Jibairu, because I mean the media obviously is going to have a massive coverage of this, annually. Certainly. That is what we see. So what should we look forward to when it comes to the actual coverage? is there any changes from how it was covered previously?
Thank you very much, Geneva, and thank you for having us.
Yeah.
Certainly, I think it has now become a custom that we do this every year.
Yeah.
And this year as well, there are no changes. Due to limitation of space and the high presence of media on such occasions, we have contacted the national broadcaster, GRTS, to provide clean feeds to all broadcast stations across the country, sure that they can also broadcast. And we, as usual, all broadcast media will come on the ground, and the open space of the assembly is big enough for each of them to set up their spot broadcasting stages and comment on the proceedings as it unfolds. Sure, this year, certainly, Mr. Jatta, who is the chair of the task force, has advised that we do not make much changes.
Okay, just stick to the actual plans.
Exactly.
Yeah, so Mr. Jatta, State of the Nation address, you know, generally, Gambians sometimes are not even aware that a State of the Nation address is happening. There are a few times it has happened where people, Lanmoy State of the Nation address, what is it about? Like, they're always wondering. So appear on television, that is when they know that the president is actually addressing the nation today. So what is the importance of it?
Thank you very much, and thank you for having us this morning. The State of the Nation address is a constitutional requirement where the president, at least once in a year, should come to the National Assembly and address parliamentarians on the condition of the state, the policies of government, and the administration of the state. And in this State of the Nation address, that is where he will lay down the programs, the policies of his government, and the works that he intends to do for that fiscal year. It is a very important event in our parliamentary calendar because it avails the parliamentarians the opportunity to know the policies that the government intends to put in place and the works that they are doing and how they can perform oversight over those policies and the works that the government intends.
So, Jibaru, you talk about the state broadcaster to broadcast the event. Let's talk about sign language interpretation. Let's talk about you know, those that don't have access to the venue. How are they going to get all this information?
This is indeed very good. When you talk about one medium, which is the broadcast medium, the state broadcaster is not only broadcasting, but they are also supplying clean feeds to all the other television stations, be it conventional or online. Equally, we have a small space for print journalists to occupy, which is on a first-come, first-served basis. So we advise print journalists to collect their accreditation cards from the office of the clerk. The most important thing you mentioned was the subject of sign language interpreter. And if I'm right, Mr. Jatta, the task force has critically considered this, and moving forward, it is one of the major changes that you will see when such a forum happens at the National Assembly. Mr. Jatta,
but Mr. Jatta, just to, I know we're talking about the SONA, but obviously other things are going to emerge as the discussion proceeds. I'm glad you talked about sign language interpretation. SONA, sign language interpretation, is usually available. Is the National Assembly looking at also incorporating it into extraordinary seatings, very important seatings, to have sign language interpretation?
As Mr. Jani rightly alluded to, these are things that under the new leadership, the reforms that we are doing, it is part of our consideration. As you rightly said, all Gambians need to know what is happening at the National Assembly.
Exactly.
Because it's the people's bantaba. So as we are reforming, all these are part of our considerations to make it available for people.
But how soon? I don't think this is something difficult. We have sign language interpretation. You get them, bring them, and they do the interpretation. I don't think it's something difficult, Jibairu. What do you think?
It's actually not difficult.
Yes.
And we also, but also need to put in place mechanisms to deliver unhinged. And considering that Shona is a day away, we definitely will not be able to have a sign language interpreter this particular Shona.
So you mean on Thursday there will be no sign language interpreter? Wow.
But moving forward, you will be seeing sign language interpretations on proceedings of the assembly.
Okay. After the president's address, are we still going to have the debate?
Wow.
Yeah, but after the deliberations, members will go home, and then on Monday the debate will start on the president's statement.
Okay, interesting.
But Jibairu, it's quite disappointing that there will be no sign language interpreter on Thursday.
Certainly, you know, as Mr. Jatta mentioned, the National Assembly is for all Gambians, and we have to ensure that diversity and inclusion are primary focus of every assembly endeavor. And as Mr. Jatta mentioned, the new leadership under the new clerk of the National Assembly, initiatives have begun to reform some of the issues that were lurking. And internally, one of the key things we noticed that was lacking was the subject of a sign language interpreter. It does not even only have to be the State of the Nation address.
Exactly.
It has to be on all assembly proceedings.
But at least with the State of the Nation address, it's the president addressing the nation.
Certainly.
For example, achievements, challenges. It's a one-off, bulky information that you can receive and process over time. So,
but we believe we need to do things sustainably rather than relying on one-off adventures. Certainly.
wow.
Yeah, I agree, but it's better late than never.
I think this is something that can be done. I really think so.
Yes.
Because it's just getting a spot, a specific spot for the person. And the state broadcaster, they're used to having sign language interpretation incorporated whenever the president is addressing the nation. So you just have to liaise with them. I'm sure they'll be able to incorporate it anyhow. We have 2 days to Thursday, so there's a possibility. It can be a challenge. It can be a challenge from here.
Yeah, as you said, we quite agree with you, but moving forward, we can assure you
Yeah,
the
certainly.
next State of the Nation address, there will be a sign language.
So what are the criteria?
And not only that, we are also thinking, as you said, under the reform, to even have interpreters, because we are anticipating, like not only even speaking English in Parliament, but we are thinking, even speaking local language.
In the parliament.
That's amazing.
Okay, so the criteria for the attendees, I mean, those that are invited to attend.
Yes, it's 3 categories. We have card A, that is the lower chamber. That is where you will have the vice president,
Okay.
the cabinet, diplomats, judges.
Okay, that is this one.
Yes, chief justice and judges and other VIP invitees.
Yeah.
That is the lower chambers. Yeah. And then we also have card B.
Okay.
But card B, that is the upper gallery.
Yeah.
That is where you'll have the director generals, managing directors,
Okay.
and other, VIP invited guests.
Yeah.
And then we also have card C.
Okay.
Card C is where usually we place a tent outside
Okay.
for others to also witness. But this time around, because we are in the rainy season, we have prepared the committee rooms where a giant screen will be placed for those who also want to come and witness.
So the card C is for
card C.
those that will be going to the
committee rooms.
committee
and
rooms.
auditoriums.
Okay. All right. That's fine.
So the speech of the president, I mean, okay, I know that's left to GRTS to do, I mean, to translate it in the local language for the benefit of our local people.
I don't think it's only GRTS. That's for all media.
All media.
GRTS,
Yeah.
QTV, the Paradise, the iAfricas, all media broadcasting stations in this country. I think it is also your duty to ensure that your audience understand what the president said on the floor of the House.
That's true.
In the respective
And in fact,
languages that they
QTV
listen
will
to
be
you.
having a special panel on Thursday, like you mentioned, outside of the National Assembly. It's open to the media house. We'll be having a special panel outside. And every year we will do that.
Yeah, you
and
do
then
that.
we would interpret it, Ibrahima, in different languages. So
different
like you
languages.
said, it's the role of the media houses
Certainly.
to ensure that they translate it and break it down to the lowest, simplest terms to ensure that every Gambian understands this. So are heads of political parties invited? Because obviously it's not a political event, it's a sauna. So normally are they usually invited to attend?
Thank you for that question. As you rightly said, it's a political. And every year, that's our tradition. We invite all political leaders, former speakers, and even former parliamentarians are all invited. Even former vice presidents are all invited.
Nice. Yeah.
I think there is no distinction because this is for all Gambians.
Yeah, it's not political.
And we ensure that, as the Honorable Speaker will always say, every Gambian has a legitimate stake in the President's address. And we ensure that because of limitation of space, not every Gambian can be there, but we ensure that every section of Gambian society is present.
So are there evaluation mechanism for the SONA? I mean, we've done a couple of them. So is there any way that we can evaluate, okay, this is the role that it played?
Yes, because the entire mechanism of the National Assembly is evaluation. That's why we said the National Assembly performs oversight. And the President delivering the State of the Nation address is itself a part of the oversight mechanism. Because the President, as Mr. Jatta mentioned, talks about administration of the state, the policies of government. And in doing so, those policies eventually ends up in the National Assembly. And when the National Assembly is monitoring the conduct of the government, it monitors it alongside the laws and the policies that are given to those institutions to operate within. So it is all part of the oversight mechanism of the Assembly. That is why the leadership of the executive presents its programs and policies for the year to the National Assembly.
And to add to that, some of those programs are funds appropriated by the National Assembly.
Yes.
So that goes, in performing their oversight, you'll be able to know funds appropriated for activities and what are the impacts of those activities on the lives and livelihood of the people.
Yeah, that's very true. So thank you so much for joining us. And then just to remind the media, Jibairu, that you said the print media is a force come force staff basis
certainly.
Access for the print media specifically. So which means they have to come early. As early as what time would you suggest?
Not only the print media, but all invited guests must be seated on or before 9 o'clock.
Okay, on or before 9.
Certainly.
Okay, on or before 9. All right, and the invitations have already been sent, obviously.
They have.
And all of that. Yeah, but thank you so much. For, Uncle Jibairu, he's part of us. Mr. Jatta, don't be, we're concentrating on him because he's part of us. He just ran away.
Maybe I did not run away. Maybe
You're still underground.
I'm looking at things from a different perspective.
Yeah, well, yes. Well, yes.
You can do something at your corner.
And obviously he's, in everything trying when it comes to the media. But thank you so much for the amazing work. It's very challenging sometimes bringing people together under the same umbrella to achieve something. So good luck on Thursday, inshallah. Thank you so much for joining us.
And we hope to see GRTS QTV shut up a day before.
Yeah.
Oh, we need to set up. So the advice is to set up a day before.
Certainly.
Okay, but maybe the rainy season might be a challenge. What do you think?
Maybe we will pray there is no rain.
Okay, let's pray over it. He's a fuller. ñoom dañ ko dee def de poli dañ dee téye seen kurus bu rëy ñu ñaan bu mu taw. So you know
dañ ma war a gis.
dañ la war a gis. dañ la war a gis kañ. Yeah, so thank you so much for joining us. So Ibrahima, moving on, we'll be taking a look at the commemoration of International Refugee Day 2025. So we'll just go for a short break, and when we come back, that will be our discussion. We'll be right back.
It's back again with its easy-to-use, secure and convenient mobile app that allows you to carry out all your transactions. No matter where you are or what time it is, you can always access your funds. With the new QMoney app, you can cash in and out, buy credit, buy QPower, shop, make payments, and so much more. You can also send QMoney, pay bills, receive international remittances, and transfer cash to others. Just download the app from your Play Store or App Store and get started. For more information, call customer care on 133. QMoney, Sinu Calpe. We innovate, others follow. QMoney is back again with its easy-to-use, secure and convenient mobile app that allows you to carry out all your transactions. No matter where you are or what time it is, you can always access your funds. With the new QMoney app, you can cash in and out, buy credit, buy QPower, shop, make payments, and so much more. You can also send QMoney, pay bills, receive international remittances, and transfer cash to others. Just download the app from your Play Store or App Store and get started. For more information, call customer care on 133. Q-Money, Sinu Calpe. We innovate, others follow. Q-Money is back again with its easy-to-use, secure and convenient mobile app that allows you to carry out all your transactions. No matter where you are or what time it is, you can always access your funds. With the new Q-Money app, you can cash in and out, buy credit, buy Q-Power, shop, make payments, and so much more. You can also send Q-Money, pay bills, receive international remittances, and transfer cash to others. Just download the app from your Play Store or App Store and get started. For more information, call customer care on 133. Q-Money, Sinu Calpe. We innovate, others follow. Q-Money is back again with its easy-to-use, secure and convenient mobile app that allows you to carry out all your transactions. No matter where you are or what time it is, you can always access your funds. With the new Q-Money app, you can cash in and out, buy credit, buy Q-Power, shop, make payments, and so much more. You can also send Q-Money, pay bills, receive international remittances, and transfer cash to others. Just download the app from your Play Store or App Store and get started. For more information, call customer care on 133. Q-Money, Sinu Calpe. We innovate, others follow.
Welcome back from that short break. If you're just tuning in, you're watching QTV this morning. Now, Ibrahim, we are now taking a look at World Refugee Day, which will be commemorated June 20th. And it's a United Nations Day that is set aside to honor individuals who have had to flee their own countries due to violence, persecution, and other related matters. And joining us in the studio today to further discuss this is Superintendent Bojang, Head of Protection Unit, Gambia Commission for Refugees, as well as Superintendent Tarawale, Head of Community Service, Gender and Counseling, Gambia Commission for Refugees. Thank you so much for joining us on the program.
Thank you, Geneva.
Yeah, so 20th of June, inshallah, you'll be celebrating World Refugee Day, like I mentioned, set aside by the United Nations for the various reasons that I have mentioned. So at the level of the Gambia, how has it been celebrated? And before the celebration even, how have refugees locally, been organized to ensure that, they have a good life, especially individuals who are stateless? We've seen those things happen in Gambia and around the world as well. How are they organized to make sure that they have a good life, which is part of celebrating them and encouraging them as well?
Thank you, Geneva. Yeah. Before moving, I would like to, as you introduce me, my name is Abraham Bojang, National Protection Officer. And thank you for that question. Refugees in the Gambia are integrated in our various communities.
Yes.
This enhance their social cohesion, economic integration, and thanks to our government of the Gambia, that if you can come close with the refugee, you will not be able to identify this particular individual as a refugee, until the person produce the ID card that identifies him or her as refugee. But on the normal occasion, when if you meet with the refugee, they are staying in the Gambia as normal Gambian. They are given the right that they deserve. And this day is set aside to recognize the resilience and the courage of these refugees, and also to advocate for their rights in the Gambia.
Yeah, so Tarawale, how has the Refugee Commission been commemorating World Refugee Day in the past?
Thank you, Geneva. I am Deputy Superintendent instead of Superintendent.
Oh, Deputy, okay.
I am Deputy Superintendent Maimuna Tarawale. Every year, the Gambia Commission for Refugees, in collaboration with local NGO partner, UNHCR, and other civil society organizations, they mark the occasion by conducting a series of activities. Like it will be conducted with the starting of March past, involving refugees, government officials, local government authorities, and also other civil society organizations. Then that will be followed by speeches that will be conducted by the Director General of Immigration, the Minister at the Interior level, and the Commissioner, together with Executive Secretary at Governor, and refugee leaders from both urban and rural will be giving out their speech, and then we will have interlude of music and cultural display.
So why is it important to commemorate this day?
Well, it is important to to commemorate World Refugee Day because we have to support them. And how do we support them? It has to be in 3 ways. That is why we come up with 3 durable solutions. First, they have to be accepted by the communities. And this year at our level, we conduct a continuous community outreach program to strengthen that cordial relationship between the refugees and the host community members. Then we also conduct awareness raising, both at the local level and at the media too, to inform the general public about their rights, the recognition of their rights, promotion of their rights. This is very, very important for them to locally integrate within the country. And then with the issuance of the refugee identity card, this avail them free movement in the Gambia here, and also pave the way for them to have access to employment opportunities. And by doing so, you are empowering them to build their life with dignity because they have access to the labor markets. They can even have access to the social amenities if they have a valid refugee identity card, just as the same rate as nationals. The healthcare system too, they will be treated as the same rate as nationals with no discrimination.
Wow.
So any right that you and I have, they have the same right, except civil and political rights.
Okay. Nice. That is definitely amazing. And they have an association there together. They know each other. So you provide counseling. So usually, when they arrive in the Gambia, how do you help them apart from the identification and all of that, but mentally, because it's counseling? What kind of support do you provide them along those lines, and how do they adopt or accept that this is their faith now?
This is a very important question. The identification can be done at the border too, but it can also be done at the latter end too, upon arrival in the Gambia at the office level. So we all know, due to their experience in part, they may have fast traumatic stress disorder. But as a community service officer, I don't have that expertise to diagnose them with that. But with the indicators, then I refer them to relevant authorities, like the psychiatric unit at Banjul. That's where full support will be given to them with a very good intervention. Then we also conduct a joint counseling at GAFNA. GAFNA, they are counseling officer together with GCR, the community service officer. We conduct a joint counseling every week for refugees to come forward with emotional issues, economic issues, any challenges. Then with that, we address based on our interventive areas. So if it is on livelihood challenges, then GAFNA will step in to provide support. Then if it is on mental health issues, we make referral to the relevant authorities to address the issue.
So what are the success stories, when it comes to these refugees? Are there any success stories that you can point at of refugees that have, fled to the country and now they're doing well, and we can point at them to say, this is what happened? Because these success stories are important to be brought out just to encourage, because, it's a day to encourage and give them strength. Absolutely. So what are some of the success stories that you can point at? Yes.
After that, you can tell us their policies to protect the rights of refugees in the Gambia.
Thank you. Yes, there are policies that the Gambia as a country has signed to 1951 Convention. That's a refugee convention, and this gives the country. This obliges the country to make sure you fulfill all those commitments that you made to that international community. One of these commitments is the refugees, they're supposed to have all rights, like what Maimuna has mentioned, like our own citizens, except political and civil rights.
Civil, yes.
Exactly. So a refugee is supposed to exercise his or her religion. If in any, let's say, if the refugee is a Christian, you have all right to practice and educate
all the religions,
in the country.
Yes.
Okay. If a refugee is a terror, he has all right to exercise his terrorism skills. Terrorism skill to make so he or she will be able to sustain his or her living in the country. And we, as the agency, mandated to make sure we are given the rights to all the refugees that they deserve. We make sure we stand by them and make sure whoever, and it can be our own authorities, it can be our citizens, whoever use that's the vulnerability of the refugees, to make sure you do something that is unlawful to them. We make sure we stand and make sure we give them the right that they deserve.
So any success stories?
The success story that we have There's a
scholarship.
Davis scholarship given to refugees.
Okay.
And there is this particular refugee who has graduated from University
Yes,
of the Gambia.
yeah.
Amazing.
Yeah, exactly.
Amazing.
And there are, it's not only her, there are other people that were acquired with vocational skills.
Nice.
Some are doing well in the plumbing, some are doing well in electricity.
Nursing.
Electric.
Nursing. Wow.
Nursing, yeah.
Some are
Amazing.
nursing, yes. So these are things that the Gambia as a country has also stepped in to make sure that we alleviate the suffering that they normally endure in their country of asylum. So it's not that the refugees they're supposed to be supported, but that is normally
The opposite, right?
But you should give them the zeal, the skill that they will be able to sustain their living without the help of any other agencies.
So what are the challenges?
Self-sustenance.
Yeah, the challenges of implementing refugees protection in the Gambia. What are some of the challenges that are hindering it? Although there are success stories, but there must be challenges as well. Yeah.
Well, before coming to the challenges, I want to add on to the success stories. One of those success stories is the waiver of the expatriate quota tax for refugees to have access to the labor markets.
Okay.
So any refugee is residing in the Gambia with a valid refugee identity card, then you can have access to employment. Then the other success story is another MOU signed between UNHCR and Ministry of Health for refugees to have access to any government health facility at the same rate as Gambian.
Yeah.
And then another MOU was signed between UNHCR and NALA, National Agency for Legal Aid,
Oh, they
for
have
refugees to
legal
have access to legal representation.
Nice.
Yes, in case if their rights are being violated or they are in conflict with the law,
Yes.
then NALA personnel will step in to provide legal assistance for them.
Nice.
Yeah. So these are.
So let's
yes.
just say when they are refugees and have the refugee card, they're treated like Gambians in a
Exactly.
way, because then our rights, they have the same rights that
Exactly.
me and you have,
Exactly.
which is an amazing
Yes.
thing.
Yeah.
So is
and
this a universal thing, or is it universal?
Yes, this is universal.
Okay, obviously because of
Yes,
the
yes,
treaties,
yeah,
right?
exactly. It's
Yes.
universal.
Yes, one of the challenges is their legal integration. You know, we are still advocating and we are empowering refugees for them to fully integrate within their various communities.
Yes.
So that of the economic integration is still another, there are still another challenges.
Yeah.
But the main challenges here is the legal integration, because if you look at the Refugee Act and the 1951 Conventions,
Yeah.
the Article 43 of the Refugee Act highlighted that the refugee, it is his or her right, after being recognized as refugee in his or her asylum country,
Yeah.
should be issued with a valid, a refugee identity card,
Yes.
and then have access to other social amenities, and also access to conventional travel document. So this, the government, I can say the Commission find it very hard to achieve that. Yeah. So it's still a challenge, but we are working so hard for us to end that predicament.
So when you talk about travel documents, what type of documents are you talking?
It's just like a passport.
Yeah.
Refugees too, can have access, or they can have the opportunity to travel either for them to upgrade themselves on education, on
anything.
vacation, on medical treatment.
Yeah.
So if they want to travel, for now, there is no conventional travel document that can be issued for them. Yeah.
Wow.
So this is a very big one, a major challenge. for the-
Which means
So what
their
are we-
movement is
What are we
restricted.
doing?
Yeah.
How fast are we doing?
Across.
What are we doing to make sure that happens?
I think the commission as an agency, we have engaged with the authorities to make sure refugees are given this document, because these are documents that is part of their lives. Some of them will have admission abroad to travel to go to further their education, but due to this constraint, they were unable to attend those.
Is this a universal challenge?
No,
Or it's
Gambia.
unique to the
It's a
Gambia?
Gambia.
It's a Gambian problem. A Gambia.
It's a Gambian
Gambian
problem. Yes.
Wow. So in other countries, what alternatives do they use? In other countries, for example, if you're a refugee and you need a travel document, they issue you
A refugee passport.
a
It's called
refugee passport.
just like our national passport.
So, but it's a refugee passport.
Exactly.
Is
yeah.
there's no one for ECOWAS?
No.
So each individual country is supposed to handle it.
Very well.
Exactly.
So why should it be a challenge for Gambia?
What is delaying us? I mean, how long have we been following up with this thing?
I think we have been make several attempts, but most of the times when we go, the company will put it to us that the number of the required document that you need is too small for the company to produce, so they will be running at a loss. So they take a number.
Interest-based.
Yes,
Wow.
it's interest-based.
But
So
then-
they take a number.
An
that if you-
individual is
And
benefiting.
you know what?
Exactly,
You
yes.
know what, Balde, me and you, I know this is a bit off topic, but me and you have had this conversation several times on this program about when Gambians go to other countries and then they're deported. And then ngane andulo ak deportation. So manglajo example with this. That so deme si deki jambur amulo the required documents nga am loi bi fok ñu topako. So this is an example of, for example, topa loi when it comes to the documentation of a foreign individual. So Gambians, for example, sometimes so gise ñu dé suffer deportation is because amuñ kayit buñ wara am pour tok ci dëkk jambur or move freely, did it? Or move freely ci dëkk jambur. So I'm glad you're here, and we even talked about this because me and Ibrahima have had this argument several times. And I would always talk to him about the fact that if somebody is deported because the person does not have the required documents and they're not supposed to be there, it's okay.
Well, lolu xam nga
refugee cases.
No, I'm not a refugee case.
Exceptional.
But I'm
okay, you are just linking.
I'm just linking. They're different with them.
Yo, these people are focusing
Superintendent,
more
for example, yen immigration in
Gambia. Gambia. We are talking our topic. Buñ lalon mo nekkon boy back way.
Bojang. In as much as anything, dama ko nekk di ko wax loi. Yen immigration ngeen jogi. Yen seen bop xam ngeen ne tey Gambian bu fi ñew amul proper document bu mu am mu bugg a feetoo.
non-Gambian.
non-Gambian dañ koo delloo wala ñu tëj ko. ba pare buñ ko defee ñun suñ waa dëkk ñu ne warut a am nañu waxante dëgg.
But there are procedures that you need to follow to exhaust all procedures.
suñ ko exhausté
then you make decision according to the law.
nañ follow lu waa bi.
Give them the chance to follow those procedures.
The procedures, yes.
Naka lay amee paper.
Superintendent.
I exhausted.
Superintendent man li ma wax mooy first of all nit bul dem dëkk jàmbur soo xamee ne sa paper mutu. Toppal luwa wala luwa dal sa kaw man loolu laa gëm.
waaw that one is for non-Gambians other nationals.
loolu laay wax nii
waaw dëgg la.
foofu laa nekk di waxee.
mun nga ñëw duga nga defar sa ay paper.
nga régulariser sa status.
toppal luwa dafa am sa
it has to be in a regular way.
tey man lu tax may war a dem America dafa overstay te luwa America mu ne. nanguwu ko luwa America daf ma ne soo demee America bu fa overstay bu fa toog.
soo fa overstay the moment nga toog foofu noonu ba nga overstay then you are an illegal migrant.
you are illegally there.
illegally staying in their country.
Deputy Superintendent xam nga lan la nit ñi xamut. illegal migration miinu ne rek da nga dugg a gaal dem de.
no even if you overstay
you are there illegally te luwa am na right pour deport léegi suñ la deporté ñu bëgg a indi wax bu sew.
déedéet regularizing your papers loolu is very important
exactly
everywhere okay
waaye looy
waaye comme dama laa wax ne there are people that should be given chances pour ñu mën a follow the procedures to get papers
luwa
nit mënut a dugg sa dëkk rek nga téye ko sànni ko
parce que illegal dafa dugg illegal
dañ am seen own loi
toppal sarta luwa bu mu tëddal
waaw
toppal sarta bi waaw man loolu la understand nga and I think immigration
sarta dëkk moom
sarta dëkk daf ko war a topp and I think immigration da ngeen war a génn sa gën a sensitize nit ñi si loolu I mean nit yi dañ dee wax ne waaw gars yi dañ ñëwoon Afrique ñu exploit ñu dem loolu dëgg la waaye times have changed nit ki boo duggee si dëkki jàmbur si njëkk ak teraanga du la fa toroxal understand du la fa def naka sudut noonu.
no that is
yaa ngi understand.
that is right waaye xam nga nit ku nekk ak sa situation. people dañ am different situations. understand nga so lu nekk rek tam dafa am yoon even sooy deport sax dafa am noo koo defee. dafa am procedures yoo xam ne da nga ko war a def
with dignity.
that's what I'm saying.
with dignity loolu la.
that's what I'm saying.
but anyway.
but in refugee situation that is different.
completely.
A person can come in and get into the country through even irregular borders. But the moment you come across that person, you should not, so interview, the moment you declare that I am seeking for asylum, you should never take that person back to a country where the person may feel life may be threatened.
Exactly.
But no, their cases are exceptional. With or without any documentation, declare you have to let them in and you listen to them for them to be protected.
Ba pare dëkk yi EU countries yi ak yeneen dëkk yi loolu moo fa am. ñu bari dañ dee seek asylum.
very well.
Man ñëw naa for example dama bëgg a seek asylum nga accept ko. They take you to the asylum camp. Why? Dinañ def seen investigation pour seet na dëgga yow asylum bi nga seek dëgga la si yow wala du dëgga. Waaye majority of the time xam nga lu tax refugee bii nii sa mu xaw a am problème tuuti am suuf. Because majority of the time ñi dee dem di seek asylum waxuñ dëgga.
loolu autorité dañ ko dee xam. they will do their country of origin investigation.
suñ paree ñu enu la delloo la sa dëkka. waaye ko soo ko seetee ba seet lii is a collective effort pour ñun ñëpp ñu come together ñu accept ne nañ bàyyi ñi nekk refugee ñu doon refugee ñu ko doonut nañ génn xam nga lu tax it's going to bring about scarcity of resources resources yu war a dem si refugee yi dëggantaan ñi nga xam ne duñ refugee yi fuñ maruñ violating seen right ñu faa ñëw seen boppa.
So how do you determine naka ngeen de mën a follow that investigation to know Ibrahima génn na léegi Guinea Conakry daw na dugg na Gambia waaye who are you going to contact in Guinea Conakry about me?
No, what we normally do as a commission, we have a committee responsible for refugee status determination.
Exactly.
And normally when these people come in newly, they will tender their asylum claim. And this asylum claim will be looked at, we'll go through it and invite this individual for an interview.
Okay.
So when they comes in, we'll look at the consistency of the information that we are going to get from the individual orally and that of written. So from there we'll make our assessment.
We have to investigate.
We also not only rely on the information that we obtain from them. We investigate the country of origin information. Let's say if you said you are from Guinea and there is a war in Guinea, or if you said you are from Guinea and you based on your sexual orientation, the laws in Guinea did not protect you. This forces you to move your country to seek protection elsewhere. So we'll make our country of information search to verify the information that you gave us, whether it is true or not.
So Gambia dañ de mën a accept ñoo xam ne seen sexual orientation dafa differ fii si biir dëkk bi.
Somehow, but it's just we normally give them temporary protection. From there, we refer the case to our MCO, UNCO Dakar.
That's a brilliant thing.
So from there, they will take them to a country where they accept. Accepted.
That was in Canada.
Exactly. Canada, New York,
Holland. Opportunity for
that is a challenge. It's a very big challenge.
They use opportunity because LGBT
a very big challenge.
As an opportunity to travel abroad.
Lii lañ war a bàyyi man nit ñi déggu wuñ de.
So that's a main challenge that we are facing as an office. Yes.
It's sad. It's sad, and this is actually affecting people who are actual refugees.
Ni ko nekk di waxee rek. Waaye su ñëwee ci commission bi ñun den ko dee xam. The moment nga indi a false claim that you are an LGBTI, then we also conduct our investigation. Wow, so why the problem is initial interview we we give you a temporal document. But the final interview will be done by you.
Time is up, but thank you so much for coming on the program. And that is all we have time for. Thursday, the sauna, inshallah. So media houses, get ready and set up early so that we have a beautiful and smooth State of the Nation address. See you tomorrow. Bye.